Today's WNEM TV5 Morning Extra is brought to you by Roof Max of Midland.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us for TV5 Morning Extra. Remember, if you are watching on YouTube or Facebook right now, like, follow, and comment on the stories that matter most to you. I'm Lauren Piesco.
And I'm Maggie Estraba. Christine Winter is off today. First Alert meteorologist Matthew Mondro has a look now at your forecast. Matthew?
Yeah, Maggie, Lauren, we are tracking a pretty quiet start for this Wednesday. Of course, it is pretty chilly out there. Some temps have been falling down close to about 10 degrees. But after this quiet weather today, we're tracking 2 rounds of snow in the forecast. One update that I want to bring to you right off the bat here is the fact that we do have 2 main rounds of snow now. Previously, it looks like 1 round of snow that has been splitting up into 2 different ones. One of them is Thursday afternoon. The other one is Friday morning. We are tracking about 1 to 3 inches collectively, though, out of both of these rounds of snowfall. So still a pretty manageable amount of snow. Definitely doesn't look to be any sort of major winter storm, but that's what we are tracking here towards the end of the week. This is right now, though, I-75 in Flint Township, right at Miller Road. Traffic has been very much normal for this morning on I-75, and take a look at this, too. Starting to see that sunrise coming up too, so already starting to notice that these days are getting just a little bit longer. But for the bus stops this morning, of course, students will want to be bundled up well. Afternoon bus stops, those will be into the low 20s, about 22 for the high for today. So just something to keep in mind for this Wednesday. Still a chilly day. We could see some 30s though on Friday, so we'll also talk about that along with more on the snow, and I will have a snow map all coming up in a bit. Lauren, Maggie, back to you.
Matthew, thank you. Right now, we are continuing our coverage on the results of the primary for the 35th State Senate District elections.
That's right. Looking at the Democratic primary on your screen are the top 4 candidates. Chedrick Green currently leads them all with 59% of reported votes.
Among Republicans, Jason Tunney leads with nearly 52% of votes after a close race with Christian Velasquez.
Overnight, both frontrunners declared victory in the special election. Democratic candidate Green told TV5 on Tuesday he feels pretty good. He's in a good position to represent the people of mid-Michigan.
Working as a district assistant in his office allowed me to hear a lot of what the people have on the ground. So running for the elected leader seat here allows me to put those things in action.
And Republican candidate Tunney went on to say if elected, he would work to bring both sides of the aisle together.
When it's 1919, when we're bringing legislation to the floor, that's got to be bipartisan legislation. That means the Democrats and the Republicans have to work together.
The winners of the primary will face off in the general election slated for May. Stay with TV5 today for more updates.
Well, if you've been feeling under the weather this season, don't worry, you're not alone.
This is about the heaviest flu season we've seen in probably 10 or 12 years.
The severity even prompting school districts to put out warnings for parents to keep sick kids at home. Doctors say this season has been unusual.
This year, flu outpaced everything by far, but at the same time we got influenza A, we also got influenza B, which usually B follows A. We don't get it at the same time, so that's been an oddity of the year.
Doctors also want to remind parents vaccination is an effective way to prevent infection.
Continuing coverage now, dispensaries were celebrated over at the Bay Area Chamber of Commerce's annual State of the Community meeting on Tuesday. Now, local leaders tell us tax revenue from recreational marijuana sales are helping fund important projects with money left over to put away.
We have balanced our budget with it for a number of years. We have put money into our local and major streets, and we also contributed to the drop-in center at the Good Samaritan, which makes my heart happy.
Now, there are concerns that tax revenue for Bangor Township and Bay City could be interrupted by Michigan's new 24% wholesale tax on recreational marijuana. That all took effect on January 1st.
I know it's being challenged in court right now. I also hope that people will hear this story or hear about what's happening and reach out to their state leaders and say, you need to stop this, because we now took a product that we knew was tested, it was safe, it was legal, and now it's being thrown back to the black market where it's not safe, it's not tested, it's not regulated. There's nothing good to come out of this.
The meeting also marked Bay City Manager Dana Muscat's final State of the City address. She retires in March. Muscat was presented with a Legacy of Service Award.
A health alert now. The cold and general lack of sunlight can do more harm than good and make some people feel down or chronically miserable because of seasonal affective disorder, or SAD for short.
I think it can be dangerous for a lot of people who feel disconnected, hopeless, or isolated.
The founder and president of the Barb Smith Suicide Resource and Response Network says if you are feeling down right now, there are ways to feel better.
Whether it's just watching a comedy show, opening up your curtains, just stepping outside, just taking a deep breath of the fresh air, even though it can be cloudy out, just taking a deep breath, inhaling the fresh air from outdoors, gets your serotonins going in your brain.
She also wants to remind you it is better to seek professional help than to self-diagnose.
In more local news now, a special donation to Hurley Medical Center in Flint for breast cancer patients. The athletic apparel company She Fit donated 1,000 new sports bras and leggings to support women receiving care through Hurley's breast cancer navigation program. Now, surgeons require them for 7 weeks after surgery, and sometimes patients can't afford them.
In Frankenmuth, Zenders has named its new president. Nick Shelton represents the 4th generation of the Zender family. He recently served as the director of golf operations for the company. Shelton says his primary focus is the guest experience and ensuring every visitor receives exceptional service.
Continuing coverage, an urgent plea from a Buena Vista Township business which needs its smoker back. Tia's Soul on Holland says someone stole its large commercial smoker. It was being hauled to a catering event on Sunday morning when it became detached along I-75 near Clio. And by the time they returned to retrieve it, it was gone. It asks that anyone report sightings or attempts to sell the smoker, noting that it's vital to business operations.
Jack's Fruit and Meat Market in Bay County's Hampton Township is finally set to reopen after a fire in December. The store at Center and Pine saying it will reopen next week on Tuesday. Because of the fire, the business had to throw away all of its products while ServPro assessed the damage.
Saginaw City Councilman Bill Ostosh is receiving support from an unexpected source in the wake of the death of his husband, former teacher and Saginaw Board of Education Secretary Kevin Ruger, who died last month. Now, in March of 2024, the two hosted President Biden during his campaign for his second term, a moment that apparently left quite the impression. In a letter shown here to Ostosh, former President Biden sent his condolences and even expressed his gratitude for Ostosh and Ruger opening their home to him, saying he was struck by their warm hospitality and the home's distinguished history. He called it a place filled with joy and light and a reflection of their love for each other. All right, well, you're watching TV5 Morning Extra. We're going to take a quick break now.
Yeah, but stay with us. When we come back, a chance to shop and tempt your taste buds. We'll tell you all about this weekend's sweet escape in downtown Midland.
And as always, remember, if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or catching clips on Instagram, like, follow, and comment on the stories that are important to you. Matthew will have another look at your First Alert weather forecast coming up.
While we have some quiet weather today, we are still keeping an eye on our next rounds of snowfall as they head towards mid-Michigan. One of them will be tomorrow, the other on Friday. This was previously that system we were seeing as just one fell swoop of snow from tomorrow evening to Friday morning. But again, this has been splitting into two different rounds now. We expect about 1 to 3 inches from all of this snow. So again, in total here, really not talking a lot of snow. In fact, the first round tomorrow afternoon only brings about 1 to 2 inches. The second round is only going to bring about an inch or maybe a little bit more than an inch. So collectively, that 1 to 3 is for most of mid-Michigan. We do have a trace to 2 inches around Mount Pleasant, Elma, and Ithaca. This is something that's been kind of odd in the data this morning. It is sort of pointing towards potentially a hole in some of the snowfall right near the central Michigan region. So that is something we'll monitor too. And this map is still very much up for some more adjustments as well. But you can see here again, fairly on the lower end with these totals from the system. By far not going to be a major winter storm. Road conditions though from tomorrow afternoon even into tomorrow night and then Friday morning, I do think we will have some delays. Roads definitely won't be perfect, but at the same time I don't exactly think they'll be the worst we've ever seen either because the snowfall rates are going to be on the lower side. We also have 20s in the forecast tomorrow, mid-20s. And then we have mid-30s, about 34 or 35 on Friday. So with these temperatures, road salt is going to be very effective. For tomorrow, for example, I do think as more just road salt gets put down throughout the afternoon, really by the end of the day, roads should just be wet more than anything else. Here's that first alert hour by hour showing the first round of snow moving in. This starts up at about 10 or 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. So the start time of this has moved up significantly compared to what we were seeing earlier this week. So that's going to be here late in the morning tomorrow, moving through during the afternoon, but should end at about 7 or 8 o'clock. There's that pause in between these snowfalls as we go into at least the early portions of tomorrow night. That's right before midnight. And then once we go into the early morning on Friday, you see the snow picking back up and then eventually winding down again towards about noon or 1 o'clock. We'll only be left with some lingering lake effect snow showers by Friday afternoon. So these temperatures, again, going up towards the mid-30s by Friday, back to the teens for the weekend. So it is going to be a cold weekend ahead. Pretty quiet with our weather conditions, though. And then we do have more 30s on the way for next week.
All right, Matthew, thank you. Happening today, parents celebrating the artwork of their little ones. Saginaw's Anderson Enrichment Center is showcasing the creative minds of young artists from Hanley Elementary. It's a new exhibit focused on the work from students in kindergarten through the 5th grade. They'll use a variety of media like crayon, paint, and cardboard. The works will be on display through March 1st. They are free to view. The Enrichment Center is open from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday.
And in some more local news now, downtown Midland going on to host Sweet Escapes on Saturday. It's an opportunity to check out more than a dozen stores while all sampling some fun, free treats. It all runs from 1 to 3 p.m. or while supplies last. Well, let's check in with Matthew for one more glance at your First Alert weather forecast.
And here's a look at that First Alert 7 days. So we are going to warm up a bit as we go towards the end of the week. Friday, we have temps in the 30s, back to the teens for the weekend. Really the big focus, though, in the forecast is snow that we have coming in for both tomorrow and Friday.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Matthew, and thank you for watching TV5 Morning Extra.
We'll see you right back here for TV5 News at 9. Stay with us.